One of the things that might draw you to bird watching is that there is such an amazing diversity of birds. But one of the things that might discourage you from bird watching is because there's such an amazing diversity of birds. There's so many. How could you start to identify them when there's so many to choose from? Well, here are some recommendations to approach bird watching in general, and I'll be using videos from birds in the northeastern United States. Think of it as a puzzle and you're looking for clues. And there are many clues which could help you narrow the field so that you're not considering which of the hundreds of birds you're looking at, but rather which of a handful because you've used specific characteristics to narrow down the possibilities. Take size, for example. Although songbirds are generally small, some are bigger than others. So for example, here is a gray bird. It's a catbird. But you might notice that it's about the size of a blue jay or in that general range. It is certainly bigger than, say, a sparrow or a finch. And so this narrows it down looking at size. Other birds might be smaller, such as this goldfinch is smaller than, say, a catbird or a blue jay, while something like a warbler is smaller than a finch. Let's say that you recognize that this bird is about the size of a blue jay, and so therefore you exclude things like sparrows and warblers. And now you can narrow it down and look at, say, the black face mask or the tuft of feathers on its head, because you've narrowed down the field, and this can distinguish it from other birds of the same size. While there are a couple of traits which might allow you to distinguish between a raven and an American crow, which are both solid black, the larger size of the raven would probably be the easiest one. There are a number of features which would allow you to distinguish between different types of blackbirds, but once again, size could help. Red-winged blackbirds and grackles are a bit larger, while the brown-headed cowbird is smaller. When considering the shape of the bird, one can consider the head. Is there a tuft of feathers forming a crest, like in this cardinal? When one considers the beak, is it thicker, as in seed-eating birds, or narrower, as in insect-eating birds? Birds have different behaviors. So note, these two species of nuthatch, they are looking for insects as they go down a tree, which can set them apart from woodpeckers, which go up. While some birds are here all year round, others appear only during migration season. So if it isn't something you recognize from summer, and this is a time of the year when birds are migrating, that would narrow your list. This palm warbler is not only a migrant, but an early migrant, migrating before most songbirds and certainly other warblers. Also, while it can hunt for insects in trees like other warblers, it spends much more time on the ground hunting for insects than is typical in warblers. Habitat can also help you narrow down the possibilities. So for example, this yellow-throat warbler would be one that you would expect to find near water. Baltimore orioles are very often found near the tops of trees, but in areas which are more open. In contrast, something like a scarlet tanager would be more likely to find in a deeper woods setting or a more mature forest. Once you have narrowed the bird you are trying to identify to a group, now you can look for some distinguishing features. Now, this might be obvious, like a bright color difference, but sometimes it is a small patch of, feathers, say, on the rump, or a ring around the eye, or a mask or streaking on the chest, which distinguishes it from, say, birds which have a clear chest, or the color of their bill, etc. Were wing bars. And so there are all of these smaller features, but it helps if you have narrowed down the set of possibilities before you resort to looking for eye rings and wing bars, etc. Otherwise, you simply have too many features that you're looking for to try to rule out all other birds. So in conclusion, Bird watching has a little in common with solving puzzles or solving mysteries. One looks for clues to narrow down your list of suspects to try to hone in on the right questions to ask to make your final decision. And so here I have some images so that you can practice your observational skills. Very often you only get a split second to look at a bird. And so you have to learn, what types of features to hone in on. Much of this will come with experience. So with sparrows, for example, what color was the bill, or did it have, a streaking on its chest? But if you were to look at these images and ask, how would you distinguish between these birds, even if all of them have some blue coloration or some yellow coloration, or all are sparrows or swallows or wrens, etc.? What would you use to distinguish between them? So good luck as you practice your observational skills, and good luck in your future bird watching.